Israel unleashed another massive air attack on Palestinian guerrilla targets in Lebanon today.
What is going on? Israel's security problem on its border is 50 miles to the south. What's an Israeli army doing here in Beirut? The answer is that we are now dealing with an imperial Israel, which is solving its problems in someone else's country. World opinion be damned.
There's been another horrendous turn of events in the Middle East. Hundreds of men, women, and children, perhaps as many as 1,000 people in all, have been massacred in 2 Palestinian refugee camps in West Beirut.
Ambassador Habib has informed me that a plan to resolve the West Beirut crisis has been agreed upon by all the parties involved. As part of this plan, the government of Lebanon has requested, and I have approved, the deployment of United States forces to Beirut as part of a multinational force.
A 19-ton yellow Mercedes-Benz truck drives to the Beirut International Airport. It drives into and circles the parking lot, as if waiting for someone. It isn't a yellow water delivery vehicle that regularly stops near the Marine barracks. Instead, it is a truck carrying explosives, estimated to be equivalent to approximately 12,000 pounds of TNT. After circling the parking lot, the driver then turns his truck onto a road leading to the compound. The driver is smiling as he accelerates, breaking through a 5-foot-high barrier of concertina wire separating the parking lot from the building. The wire pops, like somebody walking on twigs. The truck then passes between 2 sentry posts and through an open vehicle gate in the perimeter chain-link fence, crashes through a guard shack in front of the building, and smashes into the lobby of the building, serving as the barracks for the 1st Battalion, 8th Marines, crashing into the building's entryway. The force of the explosion lifts the entire 4-story structure. The airborne building then falls in upon itself. The FBI would later determine that the bomb was so powerful that it would have brought down the building, even if the truck had been managed to stop between the gates and the building. It was the largest non-nuclear explosion on the face of the earth at that time. It ripped locked doors from their frames in the nearest building, 256 feet away. Meanwhile, 20 seconds later, or less than 10 minutes later, at the French battalion headquarters, which was in a 9-story building called the Drakkar, 6 kilometers away in the Ramlet al-Baida area of West Beirut, a second bomb lifts the 9-story building and suspends it into the air 20 feet. A survivor told Robert Fisk, who had arrived at the scene, that the bomb lifted up the building, right up, do you understand, and put it down again over there. A second driver, who was apparently a little late, had driven toward the Drakkar building. Alerted by the first bombing, French paratroopers had started shooting at the truck. The driver is believed to have been killed, and the truck rolled to a stop about 15 yards from the building, exploding a few moments later and bringing down the 9-story building. This bomb was half as powerful as the first bomb. Altogether, 241 U.S. military personnel and 58 French military personnel were killed in these 2 attacks. Responsibility for the attack was claimed by the Islamic Jihad organization in a telephone call. This wasn't its first operation. 2 separate bombs had been detonated against the French embassy in Beirut on May 24, 1982, and against the U.S. embassy in Beirut on April 18, 1983. by the Islamic Jihad organization. In a phone call made after the French and U.S. Barrack bombings, a man reportedly said on the phone that we have carried out this operation against the fortresses of reactionary imperialism to prove to the world that their naval and artillery firepower does not frighten us. We are the soldiers of God, and we are fond of death. We are neither Iranians, nor Syrians, nor Palestinians. We are Lebanese Muslims who follow the principles of the Quran. The American embassy first had suggested Amal leader Nabih Berri might be behind the operation. But Nabih Berri denied having any hand in the operation, though he refused to defend Hussein Mousavi, former vice president of Amal, by saying, "I don't have to defend Hussein Mousavi." Hussein Mousavi had left Amal in 1982 due to the political direction of Amal and it being too secular, and he formed Islamic Amal. Hussein Mousavi was a former chemistry teacher, and Islamic Amal's headquarters was located in Baalbek. In his book, Pity the Nation, Robert Fisk describes his meeting with Hussein Mousavi regarding his involvement in the operation. Robert Fisk writes, recounting his meeting, "They speak of their movement not only as Islamic Amal, but as Hezbollah Allah, the party of God." Fisk recounts Hussein Mousavi talked for 10 minutes about the aggression of foreigners. When asked about his involvement in the attack, he answered, "As to this question, which is why you have come to Baalbek, I will tell you. I personally consider this deed is a good deed, which God loves, and which his prophet, may God praise his name, loves. I bow before the souls of the martyrs who carried out this operation." When Fisk raised the question of martyrdom, he answered, "It is the duty of each Muslim whom Israel, America, France, and all those other evil forces have oppressed or killed, or helped to kill, or destroyed his home, or occupied his land. It is the duty of every Muslim to counter evil with evil. God is capable of giving Muslims victory, whether the aggression comes from France, or America, or Italy, or any other force. The Imam Ali says that we may throw the stone back from where it has been thrown, and that evil cannot be repelled except by evil. Our Prophet Muhammad, praised be his name, has invoked us to carry the sword to defend our honor." At last, answering the question of his involvement in the attack, he says, "I insist that we have no relation whatsoever to last Sunday's incident on the Americans and the French. If all peace-loving peoples want peace with the Muslims, their only choice is to pressure their governments to withdraw their forces. Definitely, there will be new operations against them. I hope to participate in future operations." They would also point fingers at Ayatollah Mohammad Hussein Fadlallah, claiming that suicide bombers were his followers and that they had been blessed by the Ayatollah before carrying out the operation. Sheikh Mohammed Hussein Fadlallah himself, however, denied these reports. Despite this, he became the target of several assassination attempts, the most notable being the CIA-sponsored 1985 Beirut car bombing, when on 8 March 1985, a car bomb equivalent to 200 kilograms of dynamite exploded 9 to 45 meters from his house in Beirut, Lebanon. It killed more than 80 people, almost all of them civilians, and injured about 200 people. Most of the dead were girls and women, while the blast also burned babies in their beds. Hezbollah later hung a banner above the ruined buildings and human remains, reading, "The work of the United States." Syed Fadlallah himself survived the assassination attempt because he had stayed behind to answer questions from an elderly lady. Syed himself recounts, "I was about to leave the mosque when a woman of our acquaintance came to me and asked me to answer some of her questions and listen to problems she wanted to tell me. I refused, because I was extremely fatigued. But she insisted, so I talked to her. As we were speaking, a huge explosion blew up. If I were at that moment if I did not respond to that woman, I would have been at the very place of the explosion. By chance, a car similar to mine came to the place. Criminals thought it was mine. Some local radio stations even reported that I was beneath the wrecks. I said that death is our habit, and that martyrdom, for the sake of God, was our dignity. When they scared us with death, we would not be scared, if death was for the sake of the cause and the message.
وقد حاول بعض الجهات الرسمية التي لا أريد أن أتحدث عن اسمها، حاولت أن تقدم لي بعنوان المساعدات لمشاريع المؤسسات الأيتام التي أرعاها عن طريق أحد الرسميين اللبنانيين الذي لم يكن شخصية رسمية آنذاك، ما يقارب 17 مليون أو 27 مليون، لا أذكر الرقم بالتحديد، على أساس التبرع للأيتام من دون أن أوقع على وثيقة ومن دون أن أستلم المبلغ أو ما إلى ذلك، قربة إلى الله، ومن دون أن تكون الدولة التي ينتمي إليها هذا المسؤول الكبير. فقلت للوسيط، وكان أحد الصحفيين اللبنانيين شاهدا على ذلك وهو موجود الآن في لبنان ويمكن أن تسألوه، قلت له أني لا أفعل شيئا في السر أستحي منه في العلانية، وأني لا أستطيع أن أقول أنني أخذت من هذا المسؤول الكبير مالا، لا أستطيع أن أقوله للناس، وما لا أستطيع أن أقوله للناس لا أستطيع أن أفعله.
The identities of the individuals who carried out this martyrdom operation were never confirmed. One name often mentioned is Ismail Askari, though this has not been verified. The West has consistently placed the blame for the operation on Iran and Hezbollah, accusing Hezbollah members such as Imad Mudmiya, widely believed to be the leader of the Islamic Jihad organization, Mustafa Badreddin, Fuad Shukr, and Ibrahim Akil of masterminding the attack. The Barrack's attack was the revenge of Lebanon against its enemy. Israel was bombing Lebanon with planes given to it by America. It was killing Lebanese and Palestinians with weapons made in the USA. In Sabra and Shatila, on September 18, 1982, Lebanese forces allied with Israel, which, according to the USA, is their strongest ally, had massacred 1,700 to more than 3,000 Palestinians and Lebanese living in these refugee camps, with the weapons supplied to the phalangists by Israel, to whom they were supplied by Western countries. From September 19th till September 21st, U.S. ships fired a total of 338 5-inch rounds against Druze positions in Souk El Garb, in support of the losing Lebanese army allied with Amin Gamal, in disguise of defensive actions. U.S. ships were attended by 2 French warships and the U.S. amphibious ship Tarawa, carrying 1,200 Marines. Lieutenant Commander Al Diamond had announced in their usual American farce to journalist Robert Fisk that the term "fired in anger" is not appropriate. That's a very old cliché, which really is not appropriate for use here. You can say that we have fired on other than a training mission. Just 7 days before, on October 16, 1983, the day of Ashura, thousands of Shia were holding a mourning procession in Nabatea. An Israeli military convoy attempted to pass along the same road as the procession. The convoy rolled into a throng of mourners, rudely interrupting the procession. The crowd surged menacingly towards the intruders. Some cursed them, some threw stones or threatened them, some overturned and set fire to a jeep. The Israelis, in turn, opened fire and tossed grenades at the crowd, resulting in at least 2 dead and 15 wounded. The Israelis then denied that anyone had been hurt and dismissed the incident as a mistake. This Barrack attack was the culmination of the rage against the occupiers and Western powers who were helping these occupiers. There is also a famous story told related to this operation. It is said that when the U.S. battleship New Jersey entered the Lebanese coast in 1983 to help, Joseph Abu Khalil of the Kataib Party wrote, "Where is the God of the oppressed compared to the greatness of New Jersey?" Later, martyr commander Imad Mughniya, after this operation, responded, "The Lord of the oppressed is here, so where is the greatness of New Jersey?"